7 Republican candidates for president faced off, exchanging insults at a debate many have described as awkward.
Awkward, yeah. As Fox's Doug Luzader reports, the frontliner for the nomination wasn't on the stage, but was still talked about a lot.
Well, Donald Trump saw no reason to join the fight, and that's exactly what it was last night on a surprising range of topics.
Did you send them back?
It's the State Department.
Did you send them back?
You send them back? You're the one that works in Congress.
That, believe it or not, was an argument over government curtains, showing just how anxious some of these candidates were to go after one another.
Excuse me. Thank you for speaking while I'm interrupting. While I'm speaking.
You said
if I may finish.
It was hard to get a word in at times, even between shots at President Biden.
And I refuse to be a passive bystander sitting in the White House like the hollowed out husk of a current president we have.
But beyond attacking Biden and one another, often the focus was on former President Donald Trump, who declined to participate.
And you know who else is missing in action? Donald Trump is missing in action.
You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Thank you very much.
For his part, Trump offered his own bit of counter-programming, speaking to auto workers in Michigan last night. He said his fellow candidates are hoping for a job in his administration.
They'll do anything. Secretary of something. They even say VP. I don't know. Does anybody see any VP in the group? I don't think so.
And each of these 7 are essentially competing to be the prime alternative to Trump. And sharp elbows were the order of the day.
Honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say.
But at the same time, there were nods to the venue itself, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, and the man who stood for so long as the standard bearer for the party.
The city on the hill needs a brand new leader, and I'm asking for your vote.
Now, after this, we may see this GOP field begin to shrink as the party gets ready for its next debate in Miami on November 8th. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Well, let's continue this conversation now.
Yeah, so Rice political science professor Mark Jones joins us live right now. So were there any particular moments that stood out to you?
Well, I think there were several moments where you couldn't really hear what anyone was saying because they were arguing so much across the back and forth. I think the lack of decorum and the sense that this in some ways was a sideshow really was something that permeated throughout the debate. And if I hadn't had to watch it for professional reasons, I would have turned it off probably after about 45 minutes or an hour.
Well, did any candidate emerge in your mind, Mark, as the clear challenger to former President Trump? Of course, Governor DeSantis center stage, polling the highest after Trump. But did he do well? Did he do anything to close the gap at all last night?
I don't think Governor DeSantis did anything to really close the gap, but he also was able to maintain his status as the principal rival to Donald Trump, albeit one who is increasingly distant from the former president in the polls. Other than DeSantis, I think Nikki Haley once again had a very strong debate. And if people are looking for an alternative to Trump who isn't DeSantis, I think Haley has positioned herself as that alternative. And no one else on the stage, I think, has really provided themselves as a clear alternative to Trump other than DeSantis or Haley.
With former President Trump not showing up for the debate, is that hurting his polling at all? They called him Donald Duck. And will he show up for any of the ones in the future?
I don't think he'll be showing up in the future. It isn't having much of a negative effect, if any. And by not being there, he doesn't allow himself to get hit or attacked in the same way, or to potentially say or do something that could cause him to drop in the polls. So I think the strategy we're going to see from Trump for the remainder of this cycle is to not appear in these debates, let his sort of second order or second tier, third tier candidates compete among themselves. And at the end of the day, none of them are really getting all that much traction. And the very fact that Trump isn't participating causes the ratings of these debates to effectively be much lower than they would otherwise be if Trump were present. So he also isn't providing the same sort of, by not participating, he's not providing them with the same impact, even if they have a good debate.
All right, let's talk about what's happening today in Washington. House Republicans are going to formally open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden today. What do you see happening with that, Mark?
I don't see that really going anywhere. We're going to see some critiques of Biden, probably some things come out about Hunter Biden that are unsavory, but probably nothing that directly links the president to any illegal acts. This is far more political theater than anything else. The reality, it's kind of sad that Republicans are focused on impeaching Biden today when the federal government's going to shut down because House Republicans have not been able to get their act together.
Wow. Well, Mark Jones, thanks so much for your insights. We appreciate you sharing with us.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you.